Technology is deeply integrated into our current system. A network exists which is good, a network of people and computers and systems and communications that empowers each individual in the network while equally elevating and providing opportunities to these individuals. This self-correcting cybernetic system of people and computers rolls forward, powered by a feedback loop. The circumstances of the environment dictate actions from the individuals. The individual actions change the environment. The new environment dictates different actions from individuals. However, this loop is prone to corruption. This system is sensitive to any changes, and while self-balancing, outside forces can be injected, changing the cycle and forcing the system to move in a different direction, snowballing ever larger. This inertia continues to carry the system, and it becomes harder and harder to stop. These insidious and sometimes innocuous forces start to dominate the system, and everything that happens within gets filtered through them. And through this filtering, they start to gain control. Ideas that are foreign to the filter get left out, and any ideas that can make it through get absorbed into the filter, becoming agents of profitability. Every ideology eventually gets absorbed, including this one, and as these ideas get absorbed, they get corrupted and commodified, and the revolution collapses. The wildness of discourse and the fires of revolution get tamed and doused. So these forces gain control, and the decentralized nature of the technological citizenry provided by computing is undermined. These large institutions of hierarchy, of government, religion, mass media, no longer control the masses. Freedom came and went. This ruling power has been taken by the forces of innocuous commodification, snowballing to extremes. And the power structures and hierarchy have returned, and this has become the new norm, the inescapably banal and mundane, and we want it that way. We want banality. It makes the other digestible, normal, less scary and foreign. And institutes want banality. It allows them to deploy anything and be seen as digestible, normal, less scary and foreign. The interface collapses and everything is normal.
It's not my fault, 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 it's not my.
Art is born from suffering. The perceived injustices of the world, seen by a select few, in a specific cafe in Prague. These people, fighting back against their oppressors, not with swords but with pens, and with their bodies. From the futurists stampeding against the stifling of their countries, to the Dadaists fighting against meaning, the punk rockers fighting against establishment. Art is born from suffering. Art is the counter to suffering. The world is changed by the people. The people are changed by the art. The new ways of thinking, they trickle down through society. They create the change that cannot be won with antagonism. Boscoism seeks to carry this torch. The perceived injustices of the world, seen by a select few, meeting from their bedrooms at their personal computers. They fight not with swords nor pens nor their bodies, but with their keyboards. They rebel against the momentum of the system, and against the complex web of technology trapping us within. Boscoism is born from suffering. Boscoism is counter to suffering. In increasingly connected and technologically reliant worlds, positions of power are created that allow for the influence and commodification of humanity by designers and technologists. Boscoism is the panacea. Boscoism rejects the regimes of control that are inherent in our everyday interactions with technology, as large corporations corrupt the network and exert control. Boscoism creates art to counter this. Boscoists publish and make and code. They must, to fight against the perceived injustices. For what else can they do?
Spelling level A. Press O to begin. Press Enter to check your answers.
So, next we will look at the truths and goals of Boscoism. They're pretty out there and kind of more concretely detail how the world works from a Boscoist point of view and what Boscoists believe. So we'll start with the truths. As you can see, there are quite a few, so we'll just cover some of the more important ones. The inertia-driven feedback loop of the system forever moves forward. Take an action, change the environment, take another action based on the new environment. So this truth really stands as one of the fundamental observations Boscoism was built on. It encapsulates all the cybernetic reasoning and processes that Boscoism tried to incorporate. The pure form of technology gives ultimate power and agency to the common people. The Boscoists believed in going back to the golden age of technology, where everyone had equal power and the idea of infinite possibility. They sort of returned to the beginnings of the network and the values that were present there. Computation process and interfaces induce no disruption anymore. The transition from 3D to screen is as natural as anything else to the modern man. This technological scape is not a separate reality, but intrinsically linked to our own. Here Bosco was talking about traditional HCI design and interface design, and how it had become natural. The Boscoists saw the technological world as equally as real as the physical, and equally in need of rebellion. So next, we'll cover some of their goals. Again, there were quite a few, so I'll just go over some of the key general goals. These are goals that I personally think really typify the Boscoist mindset. So 1. Embrace flat hierarchies. 2. Be a technological scofflaw. 3. Banality is good and evil. Use it to your advantage, and condemn its use for advantages. 4. Decentralize. Do not centralize others, and do not let yourself be centralized. 5. Expose the interface. 6. Enact an equal and imposing force to counteract the inertia of the system. Do not let yourself be caught up in its movement. 7. Filtering is a form of enforcing hierarchies. Don't tame the wild, let the ecosystem balance itself. And finally, the movement will one day become a part of the system it is trying to radicalize, which in the end it did, which is quite a prolific prediction by Bosco himself. And we'll talk about the influence that Boscoism had on our society now.
Good afternoon. At the tone, Pacific Daylight Time will be 12:38 and 50 seconds.
Hello, welcome to the Bosco's headquarters. I am your fearless leader, Bosco, and I am going to walk you, the new recruit, through our base of operations, show you what we're kind of working on, the projects, hopefully give you a good idea of what it is that we do, and get you started on working on your own Bosco stuff. So we can kind of just go around the circle, do it in any order. So let's just start here at the Pirate Radio. Okay, so the first project we have is the Pirate Radio Station. Now, Boscoism shares a lot of ideals with piracy, like freedom, whatever. So this is a radio station that is very hijackable. Anyone can kind of take over the system and play whatever they want. There's lots of different ways to go into it. One such one is this USB node here, and if I just put my USB in, it'll copy all the audio files off that USB and add them to a playlist that continuously shuffles and replays. Now this radio station obviously doesn't give precedence to like songs or speeches or sound effects or anything like that, so it's really just all audio gets pushed through, and it's a radio station from the people that everyone is equal in taking over and corrupting or elevating. Okay, so up next we have Bosco's Game of Life. So you might have heard of Conway's Game of Life. It's kind of similar. Instead of binary off and on states, we've got hexadecimal. So we've got 16 different states that each cell can be in. And this is meant to be a kind of analog for the Boscoist system. You can see different ideals and ways of thinking clashing, taking over each other and moving about. And this is where you can inject your own ideals into the system. So what you do is you fill out one of these little questionnaires. You can see one that's already filled out. And then you put your hands on these little question pads, and you can see how the new value gets injected into the system, propagates out and gets taken over by the system, or maybe it takes over the system. But either way, you can kind of see it in action and see how alive this really is. And all these ideals clashing together, and you can see gone. Which is a shame, but that's how it is, you know? Okay, up next we have the Boscoist Distribution Center. And this project is really about highlighting the mundane aesthetic of Boscoism as a movement. So we've got this computer, monitor, printer, desk, and it's about reclaiming this traditional space as a battle station for the new age of radical free thinker, right? And on the computer we have Boscoist art, we have GIFs, music, pictures, 3D graphic demos, poetry, whatever. And the USBs are all loaded up with these kinds of arts too. And we also have various copies of the manifesto in different formats, so HTML files, PDFs, text files, Word documents, anything that needs to be distributed. Okay, so finally we have the Open Internet, and this is a project that's around giving common people the means to make their own websites. And we want to have a website that is crowdsourced, it's by everyone, and anyone can edit it at the most base level that gets served to the server. So that's not like editing content like Wikipedia or something. That's really going in and changing whatever you want about the website, whether that's serving ads, whether that's putting trackers down, whether that's making thousands of pages about your favorite anime, or destroying every use of the word frink on there, right? Really puts the power to the people in making this website. And because it's meant to be deployed in a physical place, we've got a little README here, which goes through the basic page creation for a website. And at the end of its deployment, the people that have visited this site will have contributed to a website that will be there forever and will really be a website by the people, for the people. Okay? Okay, so that's what we're currently working on. I hope that was kind of informative for you. Gets you into the mindset of what Boscoism is really all about. Makes you excited to work on your own Boscoist projects. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we can do a little brainstorm and start getting you excited on working on projects that you want to work on that you think really need to be out there in the world. Let's do it.
Okay, so that's the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Are there any questions from you, Bosco?
Yeah, that was awesome, Bosco. So cool. Really great video. But a bit confusing, I think.
Yeah, it was a bit weird. Okay, Bosco, what was confusing?
I heard the term "the system" get thrown around quite a bit. What does that refer to? What does that mean?
Yeah, I was wondering that too, actually. And like inertia? Okay, yeah, good questions. So the system in Boscoism refers to this large interlinking network of all the different systems in our world, right? So like economic, digital, physical, ecological. And everything is a part of the system and can influence it or be influenced by it. And the inertia thing kind of builds on this, right? It's from the Newtonian meeting, so the system will keep going in whatever direction it's pointed in until an opposite force is acted on it. So Boscoists believe the current trajectory is bad, and they use Boscoist art to be the opposing force, right?
Okay, yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, mostly. So does this have anything to do with cybernetics? Yeah, for sure. So cybernetics is the field of science that's about how systems, particularly self-correcting systems, and control mechanisms work. So Boscoism is very much a cybernetics project when you look at it.
Ah.
Okay, and what about HCI? Heard that too. And yeah, HCI is human-computer interaction. It's very much a project about that too. It's kind of the intersection between these.
This is all a little bit crazy, don't you think?
Yeah, I borrowed a lot from the manic craziness of other manifestos like the Futurists or the Cyber Dadaists, right? And Bob Kaufman's Abominus manifesto was, I think, the biggest influence of my writing style. And that guy was known for his absurdist, nonsensical writing. Is there anything else? So like, how do I actually become a Boscoist? Well, I think you can start just by making work that follows Boscoism. So making art or design or products or whatever. I think that what I was trying to get out from this movement is I want people to engage with this as a problem and maybe start trying to counteract it, right? So anything you do towards that, I think is Boscoist. All right, well, thanks, Boscos. That's all the time we have. And now I'll throw it to the other panel for even more questions.